true to what you said on paper.
You gonna do the promo?
I wish that I could freely dream and be judged from within, haunted by a power that cannot see past my skin.
Hello, this is Detective Larry Ellison
and Dr. Willie Bradley
of the MAMLEO radio and TV broadcast, heard every Saturday from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on WBPG-LP 102.9 FM radio, Boston Praise Radio and TV, and Boston Black News.
Attend the active shooter training at the Global Ministry Christian Church, 670 Washington Street, Dorchester, Massachusetts, 02124, on Saturday, June the 10th, 2023, at 12 p.m.
All right, there you go, folks. Tune in to say, hey, you sound pretty not bad. Yes, we're back live at the round table. Good morning. I'm your host, Larry Ellison.
Sound like I know what I'm doing over there.
Along with my co-host, Dr. Bradley. You're listening
Who's that guy?
You're listening to At the Round Table with Melvin. We want to thank our sponsor, Guarantee Rate Mortgage Company. For all your mortgage needs, give branch manager Cora Holbrook a call at area code 781-342-0252. Guarantee Mortgage is located at 75 State Street in downtown Boston, Mass. Guarantee Rate Mortgage Company, guaranteed to exceed your expectations. Like I said, the calling number here, folks, is 617-282-0685. 617-282-0685. What a spirited conversation. Calling from down under Australia.
From Australia. I was sitting back just listening to the accent, man. I was like, I love that accent.
You never know who's listening. Well, you have worldwide appeal, my brother.
I'm telling you, wall to wall, treetop tall.
You crazy. Just have to take a little time off from here.
Man, all over the world.
All right.
You calling from where?
Down under.
But it goes to show you that regardless of where you are, anywhere in the world, policing is policing. You have some of the same problems.
Yeah, but also,
some of the same problems.
The reach now with the way people can communicate. You can talk to people anywhere, and you're sitting here.
Gotta be careful what you're doing.
You never know who's listening.
Those idiosyncracies, distracting your head, distracting your nose.
There you go. That's why we have faces for radio.
Exactly.
But with that said, we want to. On the line is Stephen Bazin from the Special Olympics of Massachusetts, and he's the director of city initiatives here. And this weekend is the Special Olympics that's taking place over in Cambridge there. So I invited his brother on. I see him all the time at a weekly meeting that I attend, and what a phenomenal young man. And he, and with the work that he's doing in the event that they're putting on this weekend. So I want him to come in and call in this weekend. I know he's busy down there with all this going on. So to give us a few minutes this morning to talk about the Special Olympics in Massachusetts. Stephen, good morning. Are you there, sir?
I am. Good morning.
Good morning. Good. And thank you for taking the time this morning. I know you've got a busy schedule, so we won't take too much of your time. Just explain to us, one, introduce yourself, who you are. I know it's just Stephen Bazin, Director of City Initiative, Special Olympics. And how did that come about?
Yeah, so first of all, I appreciate you guys having me on this morning. Mm-hmm. I know we've had a lot of interaction, so I also very much appreciate the sentiment as I try to achieve some of these goals with Special Olympics in Boston area specifically, but how we got here is actually it's very personal. It's part of the reason why I believe so strongly in Special Olympics, and it's in that my older brother, actually, who is 38, has been a Special Olympian since he was about 7 or 6 years old.
Wow.
And he has competed on the community side of things. So I think I've mentioned this before, but Special Olympics is very robust programming for men, women, and children starting at the age of 2. Our oldest athlete right now is in their late 80s, actually. Wow. And we provide programming, 23 different sports, along with some other services to men, women, children with intellectual disability, as well as without. And that unified model is something that we're really doing and pushing within the school system. BPS, we're at over a dozen schools that really have embodied the idea of taking the students with intellectual disability and kind of mingling them with the neurotypical students. And I mean, for me, that's where I think it all starts. Growing up, I was able to play sports and be on the field and compete and train with my brother. And I think that in itself gave me such an advantage in the sense of being able to create a bond with a sibling that it isn't typical, if we're being honest. And then also for him to be able to develop and grow confidence, and my friends understand that when we go down to the park and we're playing 5-on-5, he's there and he's getting picked up. Or when we go down and we're playing 3-on-3 or we're playing football, whatever it is, just really being able to I guess, really get him into the community and have people see him as part. So, I mean,
so
that started 30 years ago. Sorry.
No. Because it's that's just why I said one of the amazing things that I've learned about is that you saw, I wouldn't say it's a problem because it's not a problem. You saw an issue that needed to be addressed, and you took the time and you took the initiative to address it because it impacted you personally. And you don't see that much, so you should be commended for that. You don't see that happening much today. We see people where they're still waiting for someone else to literally as the Olympic to pick up the torch and run with it, right? And you've done that, and you've committed yourself to it. And it's, as you said, you've probably been benefited just as much as your brother has, right? Because giving back to him and seeing him not feeling like he just has to sit on the sideline, right? You've enabled him and helped him and encouraged him and others, right? That they can participate just like everyone else can.
Exactly. And I mean, I think a lot of us understand this, having played sports at one point in our life, but what sports can do for like human child development is really something that I don't think is talked about enough. I mean, you learn sacrifice, you learn teamwork, you learn goal setting, you learn so many different things in the process of training for something as simple as the high jump, something as complicated as the javelin throw. But I am a big fan of using sports as a catalyst for other type of change, other type of progress within community building. I think one thing also to note is that a lot of what I'm focused on with this programming is really getting into the Black and brown communities and making it accessible in new ways. I think the traditional idea of accessible is like, let's put it in a really nice gym. But it kind of sometimes stops there, whereas sometimes it's just the local gym that needs to be used. It's the community center that they already have 3 or 4 meetings at. It's the same place that we go to pick up like our food on Tuesdays at the pantry. So I think we really try to like look at things in a new light, provide more diversity when it comes to language and other things like that, so that we can get, particularly my community, these services that are free. They're free. They're 100% inclusive. So like me, siblings can play alongside each other. And again, I do really believe that it's one of the best things for development. Right.
And sometimes, like I said, even just a vacant lot. On the line with us, Stephen Bazin, Director of City Initiative for the Special Olympics of Massachusetts. Folks, the calling number here is 617-282-0685, 617-282-0685. You're listening to At the Round Table with MAMLEO. Stephen, so I know you said you've been involved for quite a while. What got you involved was with the situation with your brother, your older brother. But how long has the Special Olympics been around?
So Special Olympics Massachusetts is more than 50 years old.
Wow.
Special Olympics started by actually Eunice Kennedy Shriver, who is a relative of the Kennedys. And I mean, she was another sibling who saw a need, saw that she could create a bond with the community she's already engaged with, but show other people that the capabilities of these men, women, and children go so beyond what I think they're typically challenged to. So 50 years ago, Massachusetts, but there's Special Olympics in just about every state. There's international Special Olympics in other countries. We have World Games. We have USA Games. So it is one of the biggest nonprofits in the world, and that's something that is really prideful to say, because it's also one of the most trusted because of the work we do.
So let's talk to us a little bit about what's taking place this weekend. I know there was a huge, is that the caravan, was that yesterday, that the law enforcement caravan that took place I saw one of my coworkers with the torch. She sent back a photo. So was it a law enforcement caravan that took place yesterday with you guys?
So actually, it's been an incredible week. This is the week of our State Summer Olympic Games, where we bring together over 1,400 athletes from all over the state to compete in tennis, track and field, volleyball, swimming, and powerlifting. And I mean, we work with Harvard. We're able to take over the entirety of their sports complex. So we really transform that campus into an Olympic village, and it's the full experience. So that's what's going on this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. If you want to swing by, anybody wants to swing by, check out some of the competing. I mean, it honestly is a very nice change to your week. And if you sit there, I think long enough, you'll have an understanding of how it also can change lives. But that's this weekend. This all started on Monday. So Monday was our Hall of Fame induction, which was over at the JFK Library, and actually very proud to say that my mother was inducted into the Hall of Fame this past week.
Congratulations to her.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. She's really the reason this all started for at least me personally. But Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday is what you're kind of referring to, which is we did the torch run, which is we work with different law enforcement agencies, and they raise money and bring awareness to Special Olympics through different initiatives. I mean, they do the polar plunge, the torch run. They do a few other type of things that we've branded out. But we kind of carry that torch across the state until it finally makes its way into the Harvard Stadium last night, where opening ceremonies will lit the bigger torch, the cauldron, and the games officially were open. So I think what you're referring to, I was very excited to see we had some DPS officers come out Thursday when we did a unified field day for just Boston Public Schools. So that again goes back to this multi-pillar strategy that Special Olympics has, where if we can get involved in the schools, we hope that transcends into the understanding of what community programming can do. So as great as it is to have a Brighton High School basketball team or a Burke swimming team, it's just as great to maybe have a Dorchester basketball team or a Mattapan softball team. So that's kind of been this week. It's been a celebration of many things. Like I said, starting with that Hall of Fame, and now I'm on my way over to Harvard Stadium for what will be the beginning of an incredible 2 days of competition.
So, Stephen, before we let you go, how can people support and get involved with the Special Olympics? Is there a contact for them if they want to be a part of it, if they have someone that may be able to benefit a family that is in need just like yours, that just didn't know how to get involved with helping out a family member or a friend or someone that they know? How can they get in contact with you or the Special Olympics, sir?
Yeah, and I think you put it well there. The great thing about Special Olympics, another great thing, is that our volunteerism is really what drives us, and it comes in so many different ways. So whether you, to your point, know a family that can become athletes or even partners, again, this is 100% inclusive. So for the parents of children out there that are looking for free programming and social development with or without intellectual disability, this is absolutely one of the best resources out there for the young professionals who are looking to get involved and really try to do some new things and affect their community. We have plenty of coaching opportunities, one-day volunteering opportunities, and then for the community leaders out there and the people who have a pulse on the community, who know where people are, who know how people move. I mean, I'd love to have conversations with you about how best to go about building out this programming within the community, what facilities we should be using, what churches and different type of parishes should we be getting into and speaking to, what languages are we not offering. So plenty of ways to get involved, and if you want to go over to SpecialOlympicsMA.org is our website, and right on there is the pathway to volunteering, donating, or getting involved. So
all right, so I'm definitely gonna stay involved with you, Stephen, and we definitely have to get you in studio and make this a regular or occurrence, right? Make you part of the regular broadcast here to keep this out there. Matter of fact, we'll even do a little promo together so that folks can understand and contact and support and volunteer, because it is a worthwhile cause. Even if you don't have someone that may be able to participate in the games, doesn't mean that you can't get involved and support it.
Exactly.
And be helpful in some way. It's giving back to our community, just as Stephen Bazin, Director of City Initiatives for Special Olympics of Massachusetts. Sir, I can't thank you enough. Like I said, you are an inspiration to a lot of the young people in the community. Hopefully this will rub off on them, and I wish you guys much success this week. Like I said, we have to get you in studio here, and I'm signing up Dr. Bradley as well, my co-host, and Pastor Hobbs. We're going to come out and support you. Maybe next time we set this up, we can broadcast live from the event while it's taking place. It's streamed back to the studio here, and this will be rebroadcast again on Monday, and it'll actually be on YouTube, so you can send this out on your social media sites and everything. And MAMLEO will do this as well. But again, thank you for taking the time this morning. I know you've got to run because you've got a lot going on this morning, so appreciate your time this morning. But we did want to help promote this for our listening audience as well. Again, Stephen Brazen, Director of City Initiatives, Special Olympics, Massachusetts. Thank you, sir. Any parting words you want to say, sir?
Just thank you. Appreciate you all again for having me on, and absolutely look forward to doing more with you guys, speaking more on this. We have athletes that can come on here and tell their own story. So I'd love to really create a line of communication. So like you said, we can get people involved regardless of what that level looks like.
Absolutely. You have our commitment here. And like I said, you have an open door policy here. So we're going to get you in studio when you have time, and we'll definitely spend more time talking about this. Good luck this weekend, sir. Thank you, Steve.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. Have a great one.
You as well. Again,
yeah, that's amazing. That would be interesting. I would be interested to hear that. In fact, I was at one point. Don't do it this year though, but last year I worked at the DW golf course in Brockton as a ranger, and also as an assistant for the first tee program there, and the pro Paul Katamas wanted to introduce a special. Introduce people with I would say handicap, disabilities. That's a better term. Thank you. Disabilities to the game of golf. You know, and I thought it was an ingenious idea because if you can just take the position that they can do whatever they want to do. Right. If they choose to play that game, we should be able to help them learn.
Historically, we always try to treat them like they're fragile, right? Like there's something that's going to break. And all they want to do, a lot of times you find it once you get, like Stephen said with his brother, is to get them involved. Yeah, right. So they're not always sitting over there having to watch, right?
Well, actually, and that creates another social dynamic, that would be even more debilitating.
And inclusive.
Yeah, exactly. So we found that bringing in people with those disabilities and helping them learn, you should see the expression, because when he actually brought in a couple of individuals who had disabilities, but they were able to swing the golf club and putt the ball and have the ball go in the hole, it was amazing how they the energy just sprung away out of them. Right. So that's a beautiful thing. They don't feel so
isolated and left out.
They feel inclusive.
Yeah. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the round table.
Well, good morning, brothers. Sadiki here.
Sadiki, we were expecting this phone call, by the way.
He finally...
You said that you asked him to call in, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Sadiki.
Yeah.
I know you have a long laundry list, my brother. I did see your email yesterday. As usual, it was right on point. But as usual, it's just those few of us who get what you're saying and respond.
But Sadiki, I'm not going to lie to you. I did not see the email. I was actually at Naisha's daughter's graduation, my granddaughter, and so I didn't get a chance to actually look at it, read it, so until Larry mentioned it. Yeah. And when we were talking about the Madison and O'Brien, it makes absolutely no sense to me that they're moving this thing and why they're doing it.
Well, it makes sense to the folks who are benefiting from it. But go ahead, Sadiq, you want to get your point, your take on it?
This is about the O'Brien, but it's bigger than the O'Brien.
It is. Yeah.
Well, first of all, let me just say that I thought that there was going to be a community uproar about this. And it's been like
I'm sorry for laughing. I'm sorry.
But, we're being violated. Let me just say that, first of all, how is the mayor going to hold a press conference with the superintendent to announce what they're going to do? No consultation with the community whatsoever.
Yeah.
Siddiqui, not to cut you off, and I'm gonna let you finish your thoughts. We were talking about that in the 7 o'clock hour. Exactly, and I can give you the answer to that. There is no consequences for doing so, because this would not have happened anywhere else. Well, I shouldn't say anywhere else. In communities that vote, right? This doesn't take place in those neighborhoods.
Well, let me just say that the vote does play a factor here in terms of Mayor Wu. and that the bottom line here is that we're being totally disrespected. Let me just say this: that
again,
I serve on the advisory council there with City Councilor Tanya Anderson, a lot of different groups, and so the conversation has been in the past about she's a lovely person and blah 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 blah, and so I'm at a meeting.
Who's a lovely person? The mayor?
Yeah, man.
I think she's a very nice person, but that doesn't mean that you can't challenge their politics and their decisions.
Look here.
Good.
I made a statement at the meeting. I said, look, I don't know about her personally, I said, but don't underestimate that Asian woman because she got ice water in her veins. And so right away, someone said, I won't say so. Someone said, well, Brother Siddiqui, please don't use that type of language. And I said, wait a minute, she is an Asian woman, isn't she? I don't see how that's offensive. But anyhow, what I was saying essentially was that don't overrate the mayor because of the fact that it's quite obvious that she's controlling and has an agenda. So what has transpired now is that the folks who are upset with me now, they can't look me in the eye because that's this redistricting map situation. And then the land disposition where they're giving away land in our community without consenting or approval from the community. And now this piece with the John D. O'Brien, for me, it was like, I took that personal. I didn't know him that well because when I came back here to Boston, I had some interaction with him, but I was very aware of his commitment to the community. And I'm saying, how are you going to come in here and take this school?
But Siddiqui, this is very similar to Roxbury Community College, right?
Yeah, in some respects.
Right. But I mean, just the lack of participation, the lack of involvement from the community about decisions about a school that's in the heart of our community. That's the connection that I'm making with RCC because I know how hard you worked on that aspect.
Yeah, well, that in fact is fortunately I refuse to refer to her as interim. President Jackie Jenkins Scott is doing an excellent job over there. This is the first time that I've seen harmony between faculty, staff, and students working in conjunction with each other. So I'm really optimistic, and I'm trying to convince her. Well, actually, things have worked out so that she's going to be there till graduation 24, and then another year in terms of consulting. And I said, because whoever comes here, first of all, it should be local. Never mind the alleged glamour of a national search, and let them be mentored by Dr. Jackie Jenkins Scott for a year to just build on what she's already doing. But in terms of the situation with the John D. O'Brien, the reason why I said it's bigger than about that is that the Wu administration has no respect for this community whatsoever. And so when I hear this whole thing about women of color, well, first of all, I think this is overrated because of the fact that we're the only one that's reaching out for so-called allies all over the place while other folks centralize their energy in terms of empowering their base, and then they might reach out. But the reality is that's why in the statement you saw, I said, I feel like we're back in the era of Louise Day Hicks and James Kelly because of the fact that we're being told what's going to happen in the city, and it works against what's in the best interest of our community. And so that's why I'm saying that we need to be protesting this move by the mayor so she understands the fact that she can't just, walk and stomp on our faces and get no response. And let me just say that.
But she can, Siddiqui. You said it earlier.
Trust me, she wants this vote.
Right, but
she wants to get reelected. And I think, first of all, in terms of the vote, I'm not, I don't think that should be our only avenue.
No, I'm not saying it is, Siddiqui. But let me just jump in. Right. Let me just jump.
If she sees this community stand up in regards to this John D. O'Brien piece, you better believe she's going to pay attention because she needs this vote to get reelected.
Siddiqui, that's not going to happen. She doesn't need this vote to get reelected. That's a sad commentary.
Okay. I'm telling you,
she doesn't. There's not enough.
Real popular, like in the North End and other places.
Correct.
Trust me, she needs this vote. But we're going to see now because if the community stands up, you better believe that her and her administration in fact, are going to start looking at us from a different perspective.
So, Siddiqui, let me just jump in here, brother. There's been a lot of promises made and very few kept, right? Mass and CAS comes to mind. The school system, how's that improved? The things that really impact us, housing. I see more folks moving out of our community, right, that look like us, that are moving in that don't look like us. And I'm not saying that, I don't have a problem with people moving in, but I mean, I see what's going on, and I don't see accountability. This is an election year for the city council. The message would be loud and clear to the mayor and others if there was a shift change, a paradigm shift change in us voting people out. I said the city council now, it's like watching a bad version of Jerry Springer, right? It's not productive. And the only thing they've been able to agree on, right, is a pay raises for themselves. Other than that, it's just been this back and forth and this gridlock, right?
Well, the problem with the present city council is that they lack experience. A lot of our folks, in fact, who are in the past that have been elected officials have had some experience out in the community.
Right.
The folks who are in there now, they have no experience.
So how many of them, right? So how many of them are being
situations
challenged, Siddiqui? How many of them are being challenged for those seats?
Well, I have no idea. All I know is that they're inexperienced.
I would agree.
And they have no clue in terms of how you handle a situation such as being down there in that council and standing up to that mayor. Mayor Wu, look here. I'm not saying she's a bad person.
No,
but,
it's not personal.
She's on a power trip, and she's using it, and we're just sitting back and watching. That's why I said I shouldn't have had to put out a statement and a flyer about the O'Brien. The community should be outraged. And send a message to her, you know what, you better back off and listen to us. Because right now she thinks she can just walk.
Not that she thinks she can. There's
no response because there's been no response.
That's what I'm talking about, Siddiqui. So again, you've been out there advocating for quite a few things, rightfully so in most instances. Where's it been the support from the community? I know my time at MAMLEO, same thing. Even within the membership, right? Folks, that old saying, victory has 100 fathers, defeat is an orphan, right? Now, when MAMLEO's had victories, people come out and they want to share in that. When we just had this large lawsuit right, that one of the lawsuits I filed, everyone wants to share in that. But they don't want to share in the work, in the sweat equity that it takes. This is not rocket science. If parents aren't showing up and showing out, and I don't mean physically, any violence, saying, wait a minute, what are you doing here? My child has to now travel to another part of the city to go to school. I mean, that's just not acceptable. But where's the backlash? Like you said, how many parents have responded? I responded, right? And I don't have any. I responded to your email, right, Siddiqui? I don't have any children in the Boston public school system. How many parents responded to you? What was the response overall to your email you sent out?
Well, to this, I just sent it out yesterday. I'm hoping it's gonna. Now,
well, when did I respond to you? You sent it out yesterday. You sent it out yesterday, Siddiqui.
I hope that's going to be a discussion because, in many respects, when you talk about the parents, and I'm not making excuses for them, but I'm saying a lot of folks, they don't see. They just think that it's just the school department from an operational perspective, not understanding, like having the sensitivity that we have. Wait a minute, the John D. O'Brien. You're talking about moving that to West Roxbury, and we know who they want to benefit. They want to expand the service and make us STEM and about sciences. And so the bottom line is that don't be talking about what we can offer more students. Go from 1,600 to 2,000 by moving. The bottom line is that we all know.
So let's Siddiqui.
The Madison Park and keep the John D. O'Brien right there. Don't be taking
Siddiqui, let me just jump in here because we're gonna have a conversation here. Now, I asked Dr. Bradley this question earlier. I said, Dr. Bradley, if you had 30 students in your class and none of them were getting anything out of it, all of them were failing, would they give you more students? He said no, and absolutely not. So if Madison Park is a level 4 underperforming and you're going to add more kids into a situation that's not even working, how is that a recipe for success?
And the recipe for success is accountability to turn on. Look, I remember when the Madison Park, when in terms of trades was productive. Because you remember,
right.
I know that both of you remember
when it was brand new.
In the evening, it would be cars because of the fact that people from the suburbs were coming into Madison Park for training. And all I'm saying is about accountability. They can turn that around based on our commitment to that. So that's why I'm saying that because we got a circumstance now, we've got RCCs being turned around. You've got the what's the name of that? What is it? The Benjamin Franklin Institute of Technology is coming in. Of course, we're trying to get them to change that name. You've got Madison Park, and you've got the O'Brien, and they're communicating with each other in terms of what's in the best interest of our youngsters in that area. So what I'm saying is that there's deficiencies at the Madison Park.
So Siddiqui,
but it's going
right. So let me ask you. You've talked about Siddiqui. You've talked about right. You're talking about institutions that are communicating. Where is the parental involvement? Where is the parental investment? Because I haven't heard you mention the parents
or the community.
Exactly.
No, I said I'm not making excuses for them. I'm just saying.
I'm not saying you are. No. Hear me out here. Hear me out. I'm not saying you are, but I'm saying until that portion of the population engages and really engages and stays engaged, nothing's going to change, Siddiqui.
Well, for me, I understand when you talk about gentrification and see, I've been doing brother doctor there for years. Of course, I was a baby when I met him. I've always been
well, I must have been an infant, man. Newly born.
I'm the eternal optimist, and I think that there's a
I am too, but I'm also a realist.
Of the parents, but we have to make them aware of the situation out here and say we need your involvement. I think they'll step up.
All right, so give me the plan, Siddiqui, because I'm confused, right? I've tried everything. I told Dr. Bradley, I've just thrown my hands up, right? We'll continue to talk about it, but I don't have the time. I don't have the energy to invest any more into with no return, right? It's like banging my head up against this metal pole in here, right? I know all I'm going to get is a headache.
All I want to say, brother, is insanity. Because I sat here for years and talked about voting and participating in the community. We've been doing this broadcast. And when you don't do that, the politicians just steps all over you and don't even think about you. They're more concerned about the block of citizens who are voting than they are about the block of citizens who do not. And Siddiqui's right. It's not all voting, but voting plays a major role in it. Because when you come to the table with that idea, when you bring that to that back room and you discuss the possibility of moving to John D. O'Brien, if you had a community of a constituency that voted, they would absolutely
Well, let me tell you why that works. Because look at the Republican Party, right? And we're going to talk about our 9 o'clock hour, this whole thing with Donald Trump. The Republican Party knows that Donald Trump is toxic, but he has a base that votes, right? And they're afraid of those voters. If Donald Trump didn't have people that voted for him, they would take him on. That's why I say it comes down to votes, right? Yeah. They know he's not good for their party.
But it also comes down to being actively involved in the community.
Yeah.
Voting is one component of it, but you got to be actively involved because you can vote and remain silent and let it happen.
Right.
All right. But if you actually, actively involved in the community and you're voicing your opinion and making it clear that your anger, your frustration, and your disbelief will exhibit itself in the voting pool. The next time around, that individual will change. That
but
mind.
This is what we're saying, Dr. Bradley and Siddiqui. The Boston, when I started working in BPS, it was 75,000 students. It's around 46, 47,000, depending on who you talk to. So the folks who said, hey, you know what? That can get their kids out of this system, and some of them have been siphoned off to the charter schools because now they're making money off it, have just said, there's not enough of us who care enough to change the dynamic. Because, again, as Siddiqui was saying, where is the accountability? The mayor, I think she's a nice lady. I have no personal issues with her, but these are policy issues, right? It's like the Boston Police Department. We're still operating in a premise that you have to be X, Y, and Z. So when they tell me there'll never be another Billy Celeste, what they were saying is that they'll never have anyone of color that is boisterous, that is going to be intentional in pushing the agenda for black police officers.
And that can galvanize the community.
That's right. That's dangerous.
This is too dangerous.
That's dangerous,
Absolutely.
right? And we say, oh, okay. We'll continue to operate under a racist policy. The St. Clair's report, right, when in its conception, was racist in saying that you had to be a lieutenant in the Boston Police Department to be in leadership, which is not required, which we had none at the time, and we still have very few today, right?
And less captains. But anyway.
Right. So I say this to make the comparison that even we're not pushing back. And I'm not talking about just parents. I'm talking about even those of us. There's not enough of a pushing back saying we know what's in our best interest, but we're afraid it's going to upset somebody else. Like I said, I go back to the Trump now. These folks don't care. As long as it gets what they want, what they feel they need, they could care less about what it looks like.
Well, I go to the Herschel Walker and Warnock process there when the Republicans said, hey, listen, we don't care about him paying for abortion.
If he can't read.
We don't care about it if he doesn't know what a noun or
he
a pronoun is.
He is going to carry our water.
We want control of the Senate.
He's going to carry our water.
There you go.
He's a useful idiot.
Yep.
So Siddiqui, what's the plan?
Well, I think first and foremost is that, like I said, I'm the eternal optimist, and I think it's above and beyond the whole thing about the issue of the vote.
I had to get you a shot for that.
That Mayor Wu wants is an angry black community.
She ain't got to worry about that, Siddiqui.
I don't.
She ain't got to worry about. Listen, she don't have to worry about Dr. Bradley, Siddiqui, Pastor Hobbs, Pastor Wall, Larry Ellison. She ain't got to worry about that. It's Priscilla. She ain't got to worry about the few of us.
The reason why I put that flyer statement out there is that I'm hoping that it'll light the fuse, particularly with the folks down at the city council, and look at it from the perspective not about
how's your inbox
policy.
How's your inbox, Siddiqui?
We're being disrespected.
Right. I don't disagree with that.
That moves above and beyond the whole thing about the vote.
How's your inbox, Siddiqui?
I know that there's a certain amount of apathy, but I'm just feeling like in terms of younger folks that there are folks out there who are there and just aren't being made aware of, say, what a situation like the John D. O'Brien meets, and we can make the move to see to it that this community comes together. That's why we got Nubian Square and Nubian Station, and we're fighting right now resistance because we want to have Nubian Library.
We have a name change, but we haven't had an attitude change in our community, and that's the difference.
Let me just say this. I hear that. See, for me, it's not about.
No. Let me finish. Because you don't misinterpret. I'm saying we've had a name change. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm saying what we haven't had is an attitude change in our community with us. That's not a bad. I'm not saying.
Let me just say that from a psychological perspective, I think folks just think that it's just a name change, but.
That's not what I said. That's not what I said. I didn't say I think it's just a name change. What I said is
Washington Park. We led the effort to have it changed to Malcolm X Park. There were folks who said, you know what, it'll always be Washington Park to me. But we said, well, fine. We're just looking for younger people to embrace it because that's all they'll know. Now, I don't know if you noticed. Well, first of all, what's coming down there in Nubian Square? That's why we got to be. We continued our work.
It looks like Mass and Cass.
Square Coalition.
It looks like Mass and Cass, right? But
5 years, you won't recognize Nubian Square, what's coming. But I think the most important thing is you don't hear people going around talking about, there are always a couple of people, but saying it's always going to be Dudley Square to me. Black folk are going around now talking about Nubian Square with a glow and calling themselves Nubians. So I'm saying, particularly our young people. I tell people about a large group of youngsters about a year ago I was talking to, and one went to the John D. O'Brien, and he said, Brother Siddiqui, because folks think our young people don't pay attention. He said, you don't know how good it makes me feel. When I come out of school, I come out here to Malcolm X Boulevard, I go down to Nubian Square, and if I'm going right home, I get on the bus at Nubian Station, and I hope to be doing my homework at Nubian Library. The reason why we're getting some resistance now is because the forces of white supremacy said, wait a minute, there's too much Nubian going on here, and it's raising the consciousness of these young people who are going to be thinking differently about how they approach themselves and moving forward. So that's why I'm saying I'm the eternal optimist in terms of what we need to do to wake our folks up and to make them understand the fact that there are certain issues out here that we got to address to move forward.
Dr. Bradley, help me out here, because I want to be as optimistic as Siddiqui is, but I'm also being realistic, and I'm not being flippant here. I see it every day, and I'm glad you found that one young person that is that optimistic. But I'm saying
and let me just say that there were people who said, when we talk, I won't put out names, when we said we were going to change the name of the square, they said it will never happen. And the community came together. We couldn't have done it without the community with that vote in terms of overwhelmingly voting in favor of changing the name to Nubian Square. So that's why I'm saying in terms of the optimism, we think that our folks just don't care and don't pay attention. We overwhelmingly won that vote, and we got to keep moving from the perspective about we got to keep working at, let me just say this, that we were against open up what I refer to as a drug den down there in Nubian Square, talking about a marijuana shop. And what stopped that shop, and we got to keep an eye on these folks, at 195 Dudley, was that the community came together and said, no, we don't want that here. So, like I said before, it might seem like a small thing,
all right,
but it's come together and mobilize people.
Stand by for a second. We got some comments, and we got another call. Can you hold on?
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay. All right. Go ahead. Go with the comment, Pastor.
So the comment is from Brother Eric Kennedy, and it says it's with regard to Madison Park. It says there are 36 vocational schools in Mass. Madison Park ranks 37.
37. Okay. And I don't see that improvement. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the roundtable.
Peace. Good morning. This is Jamal. How you doing?
Good morning. I hope you have some solutions, some answers, because my head is spinning here. Good morning.
Well, one is, kind of what you've been pointing to. And, I understand that Siddiqui and folks like that who worked on these efforts, they feel proud and they feel, a sense of accomplishment. We got this done, and that's great and wonderful. But to your point, I don't believe that there is a larger significance of the name change because, I've heard that story that he tells, a bunch of times. The kid, I call him Malcolm X Boulevard, I go to Nubian Square, and I want to go to Nubian Library. Wonderful. The reality is, though, and he talked about, stopping the drug den, marijuana down Dudley. It's an open drug den.
Yeah.
Down Dudley. A marijuana shop would have been an improvement. Hopefully that would have improved security and other things like that, because right now what we have, as you know, it's an open heroin market, and so now when we talk
menthol
about
cigarettes,
and I went to a store one time down there. My buddy wasn't open, and I was like, actually, it was the Bowling Building. And I was like, "Can I use your bathroom?" And unfortunately, like it was closed or whatever at the time. And dude was like, "Yo, it's closed." I was like, "Oh, don't worry about it. I'll just go outside like everybody else does."
Wow.
And that was a joke, of course, but the condition there, and when you see people, Gallery Eye Care down there just got a business, accolade for being such a great business, and shout out to Sister Lisa Muhammad down there, runs a great business. But oftentimes when I'm down there doing that, I'm like, wow, these people are running this business. It's like an oasis in the middle of hell.
Right.
Same thing with my brother with the bookstore. The bookstore is a little oasis, and then right outside there is the madness. So once again, to me, wonderful that it's called Nubian Square. I would have liked to see, as the kids say, keep that same energy with the condition of the square. And the people that live there. We have outdoor heroin. I can't, every time I park down there, I'm seeing somebody shoot up. And it's just the wanton, what do you call it, like a no man's land or something.
Yeah.
And you could sit at Dudley, drink a bottle of vodka, and then throw the bottle and hit the police station.
Yeah. No,
you right within arm's length. All those banks, the schools down there, and these kids, to Siddiqui's point, they have to run the gauntlet. Those young girls who get out of school and then have to walk down Malcolm X Boulevard into Nubian, have 50 and 60-year-old men hollering at them and making note of their body parts and everything. The kids have to walk over some of these addicts. They're smelling all the smells, seeing all the sights. That, to me, is more important. That's what we have to work on.
I agree. So my question is, I'm going to pipe up here because I've been sitting back watching this and listening to this. where's the community on actually making sure that the police clean that up? That's one hit.
Wait a minute.
And hold up,
because I want to bring this other call in. But
and the next hit is, which is what my sister says, you can put lipstick on a pig, but it's still a pig.
Absolutely.
So that's my hit.
All right. So let me bring the Pastor Dan, and he have some solutions. I know he's been down there, not in Nubian Square, but down there trying to do some good down at Mass and Cass, and he was a victim of the robbery down there. Some of his property was stolen, trying to do the right thing. So, Pastor Dan, you've been listening to all of this.
I have.
Help us out here. How do we fix anything other than we put names on things like that? Bradley kind of alludes to we put lipstick on a pig. It's still a pig, and I don't mean that in a disrespectful. But I haven't seen things change. I pull up down in my unmarked car, and people are thinking I'm coming to get Newports.
Exactly. Okay, so the issue is, and always will be, where is the parental support? Where is the police station? This idea of just changing a name. I was one of the few voices that said it. First of all, Siddiqui said that they won. They did not win. The name change was granted by the mayor. Okay, so there was not a victory, quote unquote, that the community focus won.
Okay, let's let him finish, Siddiqui, and then you can respond. Yeah.
I can't believe what I'm hearing.
Okay, well, you haven't heard it all yet, so why don't we just listen? And
it was a
vote. Siddiqui, let him finish, and I'll let you respond. Go ahead.
Be respectful.
I'll let him respond. Go ahead. Let him finish, and then you can respond.
The vote that he's talking about. Well, anyway, the whole thing was that the name was changed by a proclamation of the mayor, not by a vote of the people. All right, moving on. The whole idea of change, Brother Jamal is absolutely correct. I'm down there every other day, and it is drug central, and the police station is right there. So now I don't know why the police station is not focused on cleaning the area up.
Look, Dan, let me jump in there because it's too.
Can I please?
Yeah. I'm Siddiqui. Go ahead, Siddiqui. Siddiqui, go ahead. Go ahead. And I'm
number one
to the police thing.
When I hear about look, the Black Community Information Center. We want to open up a health clinic in Nubian Square. So I'm not going to say where the possibility is, but folks have said, you know what? We're concerned about the security issues down there. And would the drug dealers be coming around, blah, blah, blah. So anyhow, for the last 3 or 4 months, not that I wanted to because I'm a grandfather, I've been going through Nubian Square 2 or 3 times a day. And if you go through Nubian Square right now, like, you know, where the buses come out and the convenience stores there and the liquor store, you drive through there, that the bottom line is that you won't find folks congregating like they did before. Now, let me just say this.
What time do you go through there?
I'm anti-police.
What time do you go through?
Anti-wrong.
What time do you go through there?
That the former, of course, Brother Hussein, I think that's his last name, is now the captain there. But the one prior to that, I met with him, and we worked out an agreement. Basically, he said, Siddiqui, he says that when you come through there, in terms of the identified hotspots, you let me know. So what it is that you'll come through there, and even sometimes when I don't request it, I just call 911, and they send a cruiser down there with the blue light. And look, I know some brothers there who are saying that there's a different mindset there now, they said, because they don't feel comfortable because of the fact that every time you look, the police are there, and it's not by accident.
Siddiqui, okay, I have to, Siddiqui, okay.
So let me just say
no,
this.
go ahead. That's not true. It's not true. Siddiqui, wait, okay, right. Siddiqui, let me finish. Let me jump in. Okay, Siddiqui, let me just jump in because what you're saying is not true. It is not true because I myself, as a Siddiqui, you've made your
and the folks who
Siddiqui.
we're talking to about locating the clinic, they're saying,
Siddiqui.
We're seeing a significant improvement,
okay.
and we want to talk
all right,
about
so
locating that clinic.
All right, okay, Siddiqui. So now let me, Siddiqui. This is a talk show, so we're going to talk, right?
No, I'm
so,
just saying what you say.
Okay.
I'm there doing
Siddiqui, I don't say that you might. I don't know what time you go through there.
Down there at Nubian Square.
Okay.
I haven't seen you at all.
Okay, I'm down there because maybe just like the guys that come and approach me with the Newports because I'm not in a marked cruiser, right?
And they've been cleaned up.
Siddiqui, I go down there on a regular basis. I'm in BPS building on a regular basis up in transportation. I sit there and look out the window. It's like watching cable TV. I see that police car with the lights on, and I see what goes on even in front of it, because that officer's not engaging. And why they're not? Because they say, hey, these low-level quality of life crimes, we're not addressing them because the public says, hey, and people saying, hey, they have a right to go out there. Down in Mass and Cass, they're shooting up. So it's no different. And people, Siddiqui, let me finish. Let me finish. Because I hear people complaining that now Nubian Square now looks and operates just like Mass and Cass.
Oh, please.
So I'm not going to sit here and pretend it's not taking place. I can't believe what I'm seeing.
Like I said, Larry, have you noticed a reduction in terms of folks who are hanging out down there?
No.
Have you noticed it?
No.
I talked to them brothers, and they say, you know what, Siddiqui, we got a problem here because of the fact we don't know where to go.
Well, Siddiqui, listen, somebody's lying to you.
I can't believe what I'm hearing.
You know what I'm going to do, Siddiqui? Let me just say this, and I'll let you interject. Siddiqui, let me know what day you're available next week, and I'm going to put you in my car, and we're going to pull up down.
I'm in the street, bro.
No. We're going to pull up down there. You're going to see what I see from my lens when we pull up there, and if you don't smoke, you'll be able to get you some Newports.
Okay.
All right.
So I was at a meeting with the businesses in the area, and they were talking about there's room for improvement, but they did see improvement in the area.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand. And I'm just a grandfather who just comes through there to observe the situation, trying to contribute to improving the quality of life in that area, to the extent that the folks now are saying, you know what, it has improved. I say go through there now, by that convenience store and the liquor store, and see if you see a large group of men standing there. And also the same thing on the side where Nubian Ocean is.
Hey, Jamal, what'd you say? Which one did you say? Jamal, did you say one of your friends down there? Jamal, did you say one of your friends down there has an eyeglass place?
No, I didn't say exactly.
Get Siddiqui an appointment because he needs to have his eyes checked.
Right. So let me
go ahead.
I can't believe it.
He was making reference to the sisters down there with the eye place. He was making a joke that maybe you're not seeing correctly, and we should get you an appointment with Sister Lisa Muhammad with Gallery Eye Care. That was the joke.
It's a joke.
And speaking of jokes, I also like how Dr. Bradley slipped in his anti-cop joke about lipstick. So, in other words, I'll wait till y'all catch up with that one.
We got it.
All right. So, seriously, folks. Back in the day, you may remember when Carlos Enriquez was actually the first time when he ran against Chuck Turner. Mm-hmm. And, that was a big deal because people were like, dare you, run against Chuck. Well, God bless him. He ran against Chuck for district council at that time. And our big thing at that time, we had a meeting.
Right. We got about 2 minutes, Jamal, so go ahead.
Okay, sorry. We had a meeting with the B2 captain at that time, back when Packy's was still open, in the Packy's parking lot, because we were trying to prevent at that time the prostitution and the dope that was on Blue Hill Avenue coming down to Dudley and into Dudley Square. So this has been going on for well over a decade. And when Lenny first moved his bookstore down there, that's over 8 years ago, every morning he had to clean feces and urine from his thing. Yep. Lastly, I remember Roxbury Main Street did an event there years ago, dancing down Dudley, which I thought was the dumbest thing ever. And they did it in that parking lot in which they had to displace all the people that were living in the parking lot. So all I'm saying is this whole thing of it being a new thing, it's not. It's been going on for over a decade. Right. It actually even predates Mass and Cass, the blow-up. So we have to be realistic about these things and correct our timelines.
Right. I used to call it the triangle. I used to have a walking beat down there.
What I suggest is that you go down to Nubian Square today. There's a major event because of the fact you notice now they're doing little mini festivals and everything down there because the element is changing. There's a major event that's going to be held there right in the square today. You should go down there and enjoy it. Families are going to be there and the whole deal.
Take my family
Let me just say that I would like to think that when folks make comments, that they do it with objectivity. And
I do, but I also do it with reality, Siddiqui. I do it with reality.
Good.
I do it with reality.
I'm just saying the reality is that I'm not saying things are anywhere near perfect at Nubian Square, but there is an improvement. Talk to the black business people the businesses down there. I was in a meeting with them, at the Dudley Cafe, and they were talking about it's not where it needs to be, but they have seen an improvement.
All right.
And I said we gotta observe that and build on that.
Okay.
And like I said, I commend B2 in terms of the way they've been cooperating.
The former Captain Cogniman, who just got transferred out there, was doing a fantastic job. His presence down there. The transit police have a station right there, and they can't get it under control. The problem is there, but we've got to run, gentlemen.
Okay.
Thank you for such a spirited conversation. We got another hour. We'll be back at the top of the hour. You've been listening to At the Round Table with MAMLEO. We'll take our break, and Dr. Bradley will probably come back on the air.
I'm out of that one, brother. I'm out of it, man. I'm not getting involved.
No, I came up from the bottom, always rooting for the